Shalom Mishpacha, hello fam, and welcome to this challah making and Shabbat prepping tutorial video. This is my first challah tutorial video, so I'm excited to give this a go, and I'm going to be teaching you how to braid a 4-strand challah right here. The dough I'm using here is 50% whole wheat flour and 50% all-purpose flour for a little change in flavor profile. Big trick in making those nice, crisp, smooth rolls is by rolling out your dough and then flattening it and then rolling it back together again. And this will give you a much firmer strand, which makes it not only easier to braid with and doesn't only give you that crisp look, but actually helps your dough rise even more, which sounds counterintuitive. So now comes the important part. We pinch them together, and you have to imagine your challah strand as a little person with 2 arms and 2 legs. So we're going to cross over the arms, as you can see here, and then we're going to open the leg. We're going to cross the arms over each other, and as we open the legs, we're going to be moving towards the middle. Whether you use 2, 4, 6, 8 or more strands, that is always a guiding principle. We're going to move our arms between the legs, so to say, and keep on moving towards the middle. Over, 1, take the other leg, move it over to become an arm. You open the legs back up, you take the arm and move it in between the leg. You open the middle again, and then you take that one and move it over. And you take the other arm and put it in between. And you continue that pattern until you're done. It can be confusing, but if you think about how odd number of challah braids and even number of challah braids braid differently, you will start to see patterns between whether you're braiding 2, 4, 6 braids or 3, 5, 7 braids. And the pattern for even number of braids is this. So once you know, you can just expand that for any number of braids. Now we're going to make some Za'atar challah. This is a fun little hack where I make a paste of this beautiful, delicious Lebanese Za'atar and some garlic salt and some olive oil. And then I'm going to stuff the challah rolls with the Za'atar paste. You can, of course, go easy and just sprinkle Za'atar on top of your challah, but if you really want that intense Za'atar flavor, this is the way to do it. So I'm mixing everything up here until it's not exactly super liquidy. It needs to be a little bit viscous, but spreadable enough to be able to spread it out into my dough. So come along for the ride and watch me do this. You flatten out your dough like so with your rolling pin. I really recommend a French style rolling pin that's just made out of a solid piece of wood. They are great. And here I am stuffing that challah. Now the tricky part is that you don't want to overstuff it, and you want to pinch it together really well so that it doesn't break open as you braid the challah and later bake the challah. So the trick to that is that I fold it over gently, leave enough margin at the bottom, and then pinch, pinch, pinch all the way across the challah, as you can see here. And once I've pinched it, I very gently roll it up in order to smooth the seam and make it more cohesive. And I do that for every strand. Of course, you can stuff your challah with anything, sweet things, savory things, Nutella, jam, cinnamon and sugar mixes, whatever you want, and make it delicious and delectable that way. I've been making challah for over 2 decades now. It was one of the first practices I took on when I started practicing Judaism, and it's always given me so much joy. And I think that while there's definitely a science to making challah, it is very much an art, and it's very much a relationship of intuition that you build up with your bread dough. You will start, once you gain more experience, get a sense of the best kind of consistency, feel for your dough. It needs to feel a certain way, and you will know when it's just right. There is, of course, some real kind of science behind making bread. One of the things that's really useful to know is your hydration point. As a standard calculation, bakers will take a measurement of 1,000 grams, about 2 pounds of flour, and then calculate the percentage of water they add to that to attain the kind of dough that they want to get. Now, 1,000 grams makes it real easy because water is also 1 gram per milliliter. So if you want to reach a hydration point of 70%, you add 700 grams of water or 700 milliliters of water. It's the same thing. Now, different types of doughs and different types of breads take different hydration points. And the more skilled you are as a baker, especially with sourdough bread, the more you increase your hydration point. Some bakers even have like 110% hydration point, which is just crazy to me. But for most normal breads, I use about 70% as my guide. And for challah, that's particularly true because it allows you to create firm braids that braid up well. If you increase the hydration point too much, your dough will be floppy. If you decrease it, it will be brittle and dry. So you will get a knack of this. My challahs are now ready. Everything but the bagel seasoning is always a very quick little tip for some great toppings. And in the oven they go. Fun design, dip your thumb in some water and then in your za'atar or your other seasonings and make these leopard spots on your challah. It looks super cute and you get a nice crisp design that will also bake up really nicely. As you can see from the video here are my beautiful challahs that I made over Shavuot, basking in the sunshine. Now, I've been very blessed with 3 wonderful children, and I've always involved them in challah prep as soon as I could. This is my 3-year-old daughter who is learning to make her own challah, and she's still at a rudimentary level, of course, which is totally to be expected, but she's getting a tactile experience for the dough, and it's a great way to start. My son, who is almost 10, is a little more advanced, and I have now appointed him as the official babka maker of the family. He has copied the way I've made babka by stuffing his challah with Nutella and cinnamon sugar. And here is his babka and my little daughter's cute little challah as well. In the oven they go. This is 100% all-purpose flour challah for a change, and it bakes up beautifully as well. Now, I have a confession to make. In all my years, I never made a kugel, but I had some leftover pasta the other day, and I just made a very classic kugel. Here is a classic Shabbat chicken dish that I like making with sriracha powder as the base of the marinade, which is a lot of fun and gives it a little bit of a kick. And I just add all kinds of chopped vegetables to make a lovely stew with tomato sauce and other garnishes, and it makes for a delicious chicken in red sauce, which everyone loves. I also had a vegetarian guest, so it was very easy to pull out some of these vegetarian sausages from the freezer. I made sure I kept all the meat elements separate from the vegetarian food, and it turned into a great meal. Let's go to tablescaping. I have 2 main sets of dishes for Shabbat. If we have a dairy meal, we use these Spode Blue Italian dishes, which pair very well with their Judaica collection, and I just love, love, love them. They are common enough to use for the daily and special enough to make it festive. A post-Shabbat bonus, French toast. I am going to make some French toast with my leftover challah, and it is as easy as ABC. So I'm whipping up my eggs and my milk in these dishes so I can soak the bread. Cinnamon and Sichuan 5-spice is my secret ingredient. Here we go, and it made a great Father's Day breakfast that everyone loved. Putting together the egg mixture, stir, 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 and then those little challah slices are going to go for a little swim. I love my cast iron vintage pans. They fry up so well. They are a little heavy. They have a learning curve, but once you're used to them, I highly recommend them, especially for pancakes and French toast and things like that. And here is the final product with the table set out on our screen porch, looking lovely, and we all tucked into a leisurely breakfast to celebrate the husband and father in our lives, who we all love so very much. Thank you for joining me today for my Shabbat prep and challah making tutorial. Happy challah baking, friends. Shalom uvracha.